Hello everybody, it's vanburman here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be looking at the GT 520. Now if you're like me, you probably think that any dedicated graphics card can do better than the integrated ones that Intel give you. So this has 1GB of DDR3 RAM and it is DirectX 11 compatible. The core and memory clock speeds are not terrible. They're, up there with the integrated ones, and obviously you don't have to put any strain on the CPU either, so that side of things all looks fairly good, but the proof's in the pudding and we'll have to see just how it performs. Let's get right into the benchmarks then. So first of all, we've got Total War Warhammer, and this is just using the in-game benchmark as before, but it's quite clear here that the integrated graphics demolishes the GT 520 on both resolutions. Obviously they were both on the lowest settings, so this is just basically, can this even play the game? And it was a bit of a sorry showing, to be fair. The GT 520 only cost me £10, so not a huge investment really to lose, and it was just something I wanted to maybe have a play around with. But I've got to say, these last two benchmarks have been quite difficult for me to do because of how bad the frame rates have been. Now, CSGO was the one exception, or one of the two exceptions to the rule here, and the GT 520 actually beat out the HD 4600 integrated graphics for the i5 4950, and it was actually really playable on the GT 520. I did alright. I mean, I obviously only played against the bots, but I'm sure, even online it would have been more than playable. Once again, at the lowest settings, so you have to deal with that side of things. Skyrim, the HD 4600 absolutely trounced the GT 520, and there's just no comparison here. I don't even know why it struggled so much. I guess the GT 520 needs the settings lowering, but I just chose high because that's what we had for the 4600, so we'd get a direct comparison there. But Skyrim is not playable at all on the GT 520. I'm not even going to pretend it is. We get through onto Shadow of Mordor now. Actually, I'm really still surprised by the 4600 score, but the 520, not playable on any resolution. The 4600 is just about okay on 720p, but neither of these cards are suited to modern titles at 1080p. You could play a lot of the older games and everything else, but the only thing I can think of is you want multiple displays. That's the only reason you would buy this graphics processor rather than the integrated graphics for this i5. You could make the case that you wouldn't buy this graphics card if you had that processor in your computer, which I'll go with. So these are all the more sort of higher end games, none of which are playable really on any system at all, and just really did them for direct comparison, seeing if the 520 would usurp the 4600 at all, and on none of these it did. I don't believe I can remember. No, not at all. Bad. The Witcher 3 and Fallout were basically slideshows at 1080p. It was really quite something. But Rocket League did run not particularly very well, even for the 520, not even 30 frames per second, so not playable, and it looks horrendous on the lowest settings, by the way. But the 520 will still play your MOBAs and that sort of stuff. It will still play Toxic, and Grid 2 does really well on all this hardware, and even on the lowest settings I think the graphics still look really good. There just seems to be something about car games, I don't know what it is, they just seem to be fairly well optimized, I guess, or I don't know, they do a lot of pre-rendering maybe of the scenery and stuff, but yeah, can't fault it. If you want Grid 2, play it on whatever, pretty much. So these are obviously the usual 3D Mark scores, Firestrike and Cloudgate and the Heaven benchmark. Now the 4600 absolutely demolished it on all of it. Look at that horrendous Heaven benchmark score. Become a bit of a snob. Right, now I am looking forward to trying out some more intensive hardware rather than the GT 520. It's not really for anyone. The only reason you would have it is if you were in between computers maybe and you just needed something else to run your second monitor off potentially. Other than that, I can't see a purpose for this card even at £10. The CPU, the integrated graphics, demolishes it on pretty much every single occasion it gets chance to. So yeah, not one that I can say go out and buy or even consider. Just if you've got one around, it will do as a graphics adapter, and that's about it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. My little comparison between the GT520 and the 4600. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and if not, then I suppose give me a dislike. But anyway, guys, I'll see you all very soon on the next one with a little bit more modern hardware next time. See you soon. Goodbye.